Welcome back to my channel. My name's Melody Reimer, and this is going to be a story time session. Alright, so this is going to be the story about how I ended up living back at my mom's house. So, last year, around this time, I was basically kicked out of my mom's house. I say kicked out because my mom gave me an ultimatum. She said that if I wanted to stay living at her house, I would have to go to college full time. I'm not college oriented. I like learning, but I want to do it on my own time and not like in a detailed like curriculum. I just don't like studying. And she also told my sister and I, she said, she sat me and my sister down and she was like, listen, we're going to have somebody come live with us. Now, mind you, this is only a 3-bedroom house, okay? My room, my sister's room, and then my parents' room. And I'm sitting here like, where is this person going to stay? So, are you trying to tell me? And I'm thinking, so I'm going to either have to sleep with my sister or in the living room, like, because I know Danielle's not going to give up her room. So that means I'm going to have to give up my room. So I was not about this life, and I ended up going and living with my friend at her parents' house for a month. And during that whole month, I was trying to figure out, where I was going to stay. My mom was like, instead of renting, you should buy a place. And I'm sitting here like broke as fuck. Looking like, how am I going to afford to buy anything, Mom? And she's like, I'm going to help you. And I'm just like, damn, like you really want me to leave. So I started renting this place. And this place looks nice, but it turns out to be a freaking hellhole. Like, for real. A hellhole. Like, it's just disgusting. Like, you think when you first look through it, you're like, oh, this is nice. Like, everybody that ever came over was like, your place is so nice. But no, it was freaking disgusting. Like, whoever lived there before me was disgusting. Disgusting. There was freaking cockroaches everywhere. Like, everywhere. It was infested. Like, the whole, I don't know if it was a building or just the place that I lived in, but it was infested. Like, they were crawling out of corners, out of the sink, coming on the stove. Like, it was just disgusting. But whatever, I'm sitting here like, I don't got nothing. I'm living on an air mattress. Like, I don't got no furniture. Like, I slowly built that place up to where I was finally comfortable living there. And for the first month and a half, I didn't have a roommate. I was living by myself. And then finally, my friend from that I've known since 10th grade moved in. Okay? And we actually had a good ass time. Like, we had a good ass time. We had some ups and downs. It was a rough year. I'm not gonna lie. But we had a good time. Like, the place also not only was infested, that there was also by like cockroaches, but there was also a ghost. That place was fucking haunted for real. Like, shit went missing, and I still don't know where it is. And it like went missing in front of my eyes. Like, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story time. But I've seen some shit, y'all. But yeah, so we were chilling. We were having a good time. We had our ups and downs. During the Mercury retrograde of March, the Mercury retrograde in Pisces, if you're into astrology, then you know how rough of a time that was. It was rough. It was a rough time. We hunkered down together, like we went through it together. And then April of 2019 comes, right? In the middle of 2019, she meets this guy. So she meets this guy, and I've never heard of him before, nothing. But I come home from work one day, and she's gone. And she was supposed to help me film an audition, so I'm like, I thought she was going to be at home. So that's the only reason I'm concerned that she's not at the house. So a couple hours pass, and finally she comes home with this man that I've never heard of before. And I'm like, okay, you're not gonna tell me that you bringing somebody over? Because I could have been sat here like butt ass naked. Like, you just gonna show up and bring this guy, you're not gonna say nothing? So I'm like, hello? Like, what the fuck? So she brings him over, and I'm sitting here like, hi. And he's like, oh yeah, what's his face? And I'm like, okay. And then he starts talking about my socks, and I'm just like, no, he wasn't even talking about my socks. He was talking about his own socks. Like, he just showed me his feet, and I'm sitting here like, help. So anyway, I'm thinking like, okay, when is he gonna leave so that you can help me film my audition? And she's like, all right, let's do it now. And I'm like, I'm not finna act in front of this man. Like, of course I gotta act in front of strangers all the time, but I'm like, in particular, I don't want to act in front of this man. So I'm sitting here like, no, we can wait till later. Well, he don't leave. He stays the whole night. Luna, are you serious? But Luna. So anyway, he don't leave. He stays. And I'm like, you just met this dude. I've never heard of him. You gonna keep him at the house the first night? Like, okay. Well, the next morning, like, I have to wake up early before my first day at my new job to film this freaking audition. So I was not happy about it. Well, anyway, that night I come back from my first day of work, and we're talking about this guy, and she's like, yeah, you know, because I'm thinking, like, even though I was like, why are you here? Like, he was cute, like, he was handsome, like, you know, whatever. I thought he was good looking. And she was like, yeah, I didn't really think he was that cute. I wasn't really attracted to him. And I'm like, really? Like, I think he's really cute. Like, I think he's fine. I was like, you know, did you have a good time with him? And she was like, not really. Like, it was all right. And I'm like, really? Like, okay. But she's like, but you know, I'm kind of thinking about like seeing him again. And I'm like, okay, you know, just test it out or whatever. So she ends up bringing him back over that night, and all three of us go out and get margaritas and stuff. And so that was chill. Like, we had a good time, and like, you know, me and him were cool, and we were actually like vibing. And she did not like that. She did not like that at all. And I don't think she would even have invited him to hang out again if I hadn't said that I thought he was cute. So yeah, so she didn't like that at all. So I'm sitting here like, because at one point we all went to go get Chinese after we had drinks, because I needed some Chinese food to soak up the alcohol sitting in my stomach. So he took us to go get the Chinese food. And so we're sitting there waiting for my Chinese food and the Chinese food that he ordered. And he's like, you know, he's spiritual too. So I'm like, okay, like for real, like, you know, me and her were spiritual, like, and all meditating, whatever, and he's too. So I'm like, this is actually a good fit. Like, this guy's cool. And but at the same time, he seemed a little out there, like a little out there. So I'm like, you know, he's cool, but I'm also like, you know, I'm gonna be real careful with. Can you, Luna? I'm so sorry. But anyway, so I'm just like, we were all sitting here waiting for my Chinese food, and he's talking about like, you know, spiritualism, whatever. I don't remember what he was saying exactly, but he was just like, let's just all hold hands. And she's just sitting there looking like mad. Like, the whole time me and him would start talking and like vibe and actually have good conversation, she would be mad about it. So I'm sitting here like, dude, I'm not trying to steal your man, but we are all three out here together. Like, let's have a good time. Like, so me and him were talking, and he's like, you know, let's all hold hands. So I'm like, okay, I'll hold his hand, thinking she's gonna hold his hand. No, she gets pissed and like walks out. Literally, like, just walks out of the Chinese restaurant. And I'm like, and he's just like, starts venting to me about how he really likes her, and he's trying to figure out like what he's doing wrong, this and that and the third. And I'm just like, dude, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, she's just who she is. So, you know, after we get my food, like, we go and find her, and she just comes walking from the store that was next to the Chinese store, like the actual grocery store. She comes walking from it, and just like with some freaking cake, and I'm just like, sis, it was not that deep for you to walk away, like legitimately walk away. It was not that deep. But anyway, so we all go back to the place. They go have a talk, and like they're good. So then he stays over again that night. The next night after work, it's my last day at the job that I was working previously before I was working at the new job that I had started at. It was my last day there. So, you know, when I finished that work day, me and my coworkers all go out to get drinks to celebrate my last day. And I invited my roommate and that guy she was seeing. So they come. He stays that night at the place when we leave. He stays the next day. And the next day. And the next day. And the next day. I'm like, he hasn't left the house. Like, he has been here for a week. So finally, I'm like, what is going on? Because she's getting so mad about me and him like vibing and stuff that she like, there was a hissy fit about it, like a legitimate hissy fit about it the day after we all got drinks. Because like I said, he slept over that night again. And that Sunday, me, her, and him went all to go get groceries. And he legitimately bought groceries and asked to keep them in our fridge. And I'm like, and then like she's having a hissy fit again because me and him are vibing. And so when we get back from grocery shopping, she literally goes and storms into her room and lays down. And I'm like, I'm not trying to steal your man. I'm literally just having a conversation with him because he's here. And I'm a social person. I like to get to know people. So I'm like, me and him are cooling because we have similar interests. Like, you can speak up and be a part of this conversation too because you have similar interests as well. You don't have to get all jealous about it. That is a character flaw on your part. That is not a reflection of me or him. It's a reflection of you. Why are you getting into a bad mood and storming and going into your room and laying down and expecting somebody to go over there and pat you on the damn back? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not your damn mom. And he is not your damn dad. So while she goes into her room, he and I are like in the kitchen cooking and stuff, and we're chilling. We're talking about my dad because my dad passed away in 2016. So I actually like talked to him about my dad. So like me and him were actually like really like I said, we were really vibing. And so finally she comes out of her room pissed. You could just feel the energy coming off of her in waves. And me and him are like, okay. So like at one point I go into my room to wax my eyebrows. Yes, random, but I went to my room to wax my eyebrows. And when I come back out into the living room, they are bickering. And so I sit on the couch like, why are y'all doing this in the public space of this condominium? Can you not go in your room and have this argument? And like, we were all having a good time. Why are you fighting? Because he basically like, well, I guess while I was gone to wax my eyebrows, he basically was like, listen, I'm not a mind reader. What's wrong with you? Because he kept like trying to comfort her, give her hugs, this, that, and the third, and she was just rejecting all of it. So he's like, what's wrong with you? What can I do to help you get out of this mood? And she's just like, you're not a mind reader. Everybody says they're an empath. How can you be an empath? And I'm like sitting here listening to this conversation like, first of all, you don't make no sense. Just because people are, empathetic does not mean that they automatically know how to treat your personal mood and how to comfort you and make you better. That's why you ask, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you? That's why he's asking that, because he's not a mind reader, like he said. So I'm sitting here listening to this pathetic conversation, this pathetic argument that she had, and finally I had to say something. I was just like, listen, can y'all just stop bickering for like 5 minutes? Can we just have quiet time for 5 minutes and gather our thoughts and just have a like legitimate, calm conversation and like work this out? So like I legitimately put a 5-minute timer on and let them just be quiet. And so when 5 minutes is up, he's like, you know what? I really enjoy spending time with you guys, and you guys are really cool, and I want to continue to come over here and chill. You know, I really appreciate you. He's saying this to my roommate. I really appreciate you, and I really like you. And, you know, being so nice and like complimenting her and basically trying to like resolve the argument. And then she's just sitting here like shaking her head and laughing. And I'm like, he's like legitimately being nice. Like, why are you being a child? And so like then they just get into an argument again. And finally he gets up and he's like, do you want me to leave? And she's just like laughing and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm thinking, yes, please leave, because I don't want to sit here and hear this argument anymore. And so she's laughing and he's like, fine, I'll stay. And then I'm sitting here like, and they start arguing again. And so finally I speak up and I'm like, you know what? Leave. Please leave, because I don't want to sit here and listen to this argument anymore. Like, it's pointless, because she's not going to sit here and have an adult conversation with you and try to work this out. She's just going to mock you and gaslight you. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear it, because it's triggering me. Because I've been in his position. I've had arguments with people who did not actually want to resolve it. They just wanted to be defensive and not try to make a clear path and have a consensus and what we could do to get over the argument. So I was just like, asked him to leave. So like he actually got up and started getting his stuff to leave. And like she, for some reason, gets up and walks out the door. And I'm like, where are you going? Why are you running? Like, where are you going, sis? So I start getting myself to leave too, because I'm not gonna stay here in this like dank energy and just sit in it. Like, no, I don't want to be in her bad energy. So like he gets stuff to leave and I get my stuff to leave, and I like walk out with him, and like I check on him to make sure he's okay, and he's like bawling his eyes out, and I'm just like, ugh. So I leave and I go to watch a movie, and while I'm in the theater I check my phone and I have a voicemail from her. And she like called to apologize about her behavior and was like, I already called him and we're good now. You can come back home. I hope you're okay. And so I go back and his car is there. I'm like, you came back? And so he came back to stay that night. So then following that is when he's there every single day. From that point forward, still there, just staying at the house. She just met him. And he's basically been out the house every single day. So I finally say something about it, because now when I come home, he's just like, hey, he's not like conversating with me like we were, like conversing, whatever. I'm like, what'd I do? Like, I thought we were good. So now I have a bone to pick with the whole situation with him and with her. So now I'm like, for sure, I don't want you here. Like, if you're not going to be like nice to me, like this is my house. So like I tell her that, and you know, she goes to stay at his house for one night, then brings him back to the house. Then he's there every single day. And then finally, like a week after my dinner that I had with my friends, that we went out to get drinks from celebrating my last day. So a week after that, at this point, it's been a week since she's known him, and he's been at the house basically every single day. So that Saturday, I come home from my friend's house, and I see his truck is in the parking lot, and I'm like, not again. I'm like, are you fucking serious? So I get home, I open the door, and what do I see? This man is freaking, he looks like he's completely naked in my kitchen. In my freaking kitchen. Why are you naked in my kitchen? Because he's standing there, all I see is his top, and I see his bottom, and he's got like a towel in front of his waist. So all I can assume is that this man is naked. So I'm like, I go in the kitchen, and he like scurries out to go put on some clothes. So I go in the kitchen, I put my shit up quietly because I'm mad, I'm heated, it's boiling, and I go in my room and I sit on my bed and I'm like, Melody, you have got to say something. This can go on no longer. So finally, I come out and I sit in the living room all calm and cool like a cucumber, and I'm like, so, are you moving in? And he just gets so defensive. And I'm like, whoa, like obviously he for real did have a bone to pick with me. And I'm like, when did we have issues? Because I thought we were good. And he's like, no, I have my, she's like, no, he has his own place to stay. And he's like, no, I'm just here playing this game and cooking. And I'm just like, I was like, well, you've got groceries in the fridge. I don't remember my full argument, but I'm like, you know, got groceries in the fridge. You've been here every single day, and you're sitting in my kitchen basically looking naked, like something. What is the issue here? So I'm like, why are you in my house still? That's the all point. I'm like, the whole point is, why are you in this house? And why have I still not been notified? Every time I come home, you're here, and I'm never notified about you being here. I just come home and I see you. So at this point, I feel like you live here because you got groceries in the fridge. You stand in my kitchen naked. Like, you must be needing to pay rent because I be walking home, coming home, and I see your computer is just sitting in my living room just charging. Like, you need to start paying bills. You're using my damn electricity. So she's like, you know, he starts arguing with me and talking about like how like I stormed out the house on Monday. I'm like, that is completely irrelevant. This is my damn house. My name is on the lease. I can leave my damn house and come and go whenever I please, whether it looks like I'm storming out or not. So I'm like, you're just your argument is pointless. Like, why? All I want to know is, why have you been here every single day since you've met this girl? And so finally she tells him to shut the fuck up, and she's like, I just don't understand why you didn't have a problem with my past ex-boyfriends being here, but you got a problem with John. And I'm like, I knew them. I knew ex-boyfriend 1 before you even moved in, and ex-boyfriend 2, you talked to him for like 2 weeks before you met him. And I got introduced to him, and I always knew when he was coming because he only came on weekends because he had an actual job. And he lived not in this town, so he only came on weekends. So I always knew when he was coming. I was always notified. So of course I don't have a problem with him coming to stay. But this man has been here every single day since you met him. It's not okay. He is a stranger. Like, he could still be planning, like, plotting out shit to kill us and stuff. Like, that's not okay. It's not okay. So she's like, okay, well, like, I'll let you know when he's gonna be here. Okay, I'm like, okay. And I go and leave. And then, like, they leave that night. But the next day, she texts me and she's like, John and I are coming back. Sorry, I said his name. Anyway, she texts me. She's like, me and him are coming back. And I'm like, okay. So they come back on Sunday. And then, again, he's there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Thursday, I left to go visit my friend in North Carolina, my best friend. So before I leave, I'm like, listen, I know this guy's going to be at the house while I'm gone. Just be mindful, because I do not agree with his energy anymore. I just continuously feel like bad energy is being thrown on me. Like, I felt like my stomach felt upset all the time, and I just felt anxiety every time I came home. Like, I just did not feel safe. Notice I got this evil eye bracelet on now. So I'm like, at the time I didn't have one. So I just constantly felt negative energy being thrown at me. And I just thought it was all coming from him. Well, when I'm gone, I don't talk to her all but one time. She texts me and is like, the neighbor below us was having, like, their ceiling was leaking. And they were, like, wondering where it was coming from upstairs from me. And I was like, listen, I don't know. I'm not home. There's nothing I can do about it. Give them my landlord's number. So that's the only time I text her. The day that I leave North Carolina, I Snapchat her and I'm like, hey, I'm on my way back home. Can you please not have him at the house tonight, because I want to rest. And I just feel like negative energy from him whenever he's there. And she doesn't acknowledge that at all. And she's only like, when will you be home? And I'm like, 4? Like, I don't know. So I drive my ass back home, and I open the door, and The couch is gone. The recliner's gone. Like, both of those were hers. The tables are gone that she had. The washer and dryer are gone. And her bedroom is cleared out. And then she has various shit across the floor in the living room. In the sunroom, where my couch is, she has stuff over there. And she has stuff on my kitchen table. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just thrown for a loop. Now, mind you, before I left, I did have some intuitive feeling that she would pull some shit like that, but I didn't want to believe it. And like the month before, I intuitively felt and heard from my spirit guides to not trust her anymore. So I hadn't really been feeling like she was trustworthy for some time, but at the same time, like, she was my friend. I just didn't know, like, to the extent of, like, how bad, like, that shit was for real. Like, I didn't realize to the extent how bad I should not trust her. And I even had watched a pick a card reading on YouTube about, like, which one, your friend, like, who you can trust or who you can't trust. And I picked a card and it had been, like, all negative. Like, this person does not, this person is jealous, they hate you, this, that, and the third. And she actually walked in on me watching it, was like, oh yeah, it's about this friend that I had currently not been talking to at the time. But me and her, I actually resolved it because it was a mutual friend between me and my roommate. And my friend and my roommate had a disagreement, and it affected me and her relationship as well, my friend. And so I kind of like put her on pause for a little while, but I resolved it before coming back home from visiting my friend in North Carolina. So I'm just like, everything's kind of just like realizing, like, this is about that. Pick a card reading was about her. All that negative energy was coming mostly from her and then the guy she was talking to. And I was right not to trust her. Like, my spirit guides were right. They told me the truth, as always. Like, I'm sitting here just flabbergasted. And I call my friend that I just came from visiting from, and I'm like, she moved out on me. Like, my roommate moved out on me. She's like, I don't believe it. I like FaceTime her, I show her, and she was like shooketh. And like, while I'm on the phone with her, my roommate opens up the front door with that guy and comes in. And so I like end the call with my friend, and I walk out there and I'm just like, so you're moving out? And she was like, yep. And I was just like, do you need any help? And she was like, no, I think we got it. And I was like, well, I'm sorry for making you feel like, you know, you needed to leave. And she was like, I just thought I would give you back your space. And I'm like, okay. And I walked back into my room, and she told me that she would give me rent for next month. And I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, she sends me $100. Now rent is $750 for both of us, so $375 between us. And then there's also electricity and Wi-Fi. But she sends me $100, and I'm just like, okay, so I guess she'll send me the rest. So I request the rest from her on Cash App. She blocks my number, she blocks my Cash App request and my Cash App. She blocks my Snapchat. She unfriends me from Facebook, like the whole nine, like just ghosts completely. And I'm just like, wow, like that's the type of person that you are. Like, you can't trust nobody. Like, me and her have been friends for years and had mutual friends from high school that knew her. So I'm just sitting here talking shit to all my freaking friends. They're all like shook. But yeah, so that's what happened with my roommate. You can't trust nobody, y'all. You can't trust nobody. Like, as a person now versus then, I feel like I have grown like tremendously. I feel like everything happens for a reason. If you don't know what the reason is at the time, at least acknowledge that it happened for your personal growth. Whenever you're put through trials and tribulations, it's for your personal growth here as a soul on this earth. So I definitely feel like I've grown from then. But yep, that's why I moved back to my mom's. And yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching Storytime with me.